Hello, my name is Robert Consoli, and I'm a digital design lecturer at the University of Hull in England. Now this is part 6 of the 6-part series, Maya 8.5 Basics. And this is probably the most important part, because after we're done with a few extra things that you might need to know, I'm going to describe some exercises that I'd like you to do, and that's when the fun really starts. So let's just get right into the software. We're going to do a couple of things here. I'm going to show you how to use cameras instead of the default camera that Maya provides in your workspace. You see, the same way that you use objects and put them in motion in Maya, you can do the same thing with cameras as well. So not only can you structure your environment or your artwork, but you can actually work as a cinematographer, as specifically describing how these objects should be filmed. Okay? And that is a blast and really something. So let's just get right into it again then. Okay? So what I want you to do is open the Maya interface, of course. Go up to the very top to create cameras, and the first camera icon, the first camera entry that says just camera. Alright? Now we're going to work with this camera icon for now, for this camera type right now, but definitely later go and experiment with the other two up there, okay? So, what I want you to do is hit keyboard button 4 right now to eliminate the shading from any objects you might have on your screen. Now I know we haven't drawn anything yet, but the thing about cameras is this. When you make a new camera, it appears directly at the crossroads of your perspective grid. And if there are objects there, and if they're shaded, you might not see that the camera's actually appeared, so you didn't even know it was there. When I first started using Maya, I piled up about 10 cameras right in the middle before I even knew what was going on. So just know that your new camera ends up right in the middle of the grid, waiting for you to manipulate it, okay? Now, with your new camera selected, use the Move tool over on the side of your screen, and the camera now moves in the same way that any object does in the View panel. Alright? So I want you to move it closer to the edge of the grid of your work area. Alright? Okay. Now, with the Curves tab selected at the top of the screen, and if your shelf tabs aren't up, set them up, please. So with the Curves tab selected, I want you to take that far left icon, the one that looks like a circle, okay, and I want you to draw a curved path on your perspective grid, okay? Now, select the camera, hit Shift, select the path, go up to the top of your screen to Animate, Motion Path, Add to Motion Path, and you'll see that your camera jumps onto the circle. Right? Okay. Now go ahead and create an object on your screen somewhere in the middle of the path that the camera is on. Alright? And click playback. And you'll see that the camera circles around the object. Alright? You with me? You've made an object, you put a camera on a circle around it, and you're experimenting with it. Great. Alright, what we really want to do is we want to see the object you've created from the viewpoint of the camera you've created. So to do that, we go up to the top of the View panel, alright, just to the top of the gray area, and you'll see those few words that are atop in the it's at the top of the View panel in the upper left-hand corner, and I want you to find the word that says Panels, alright? I want you to shift down to Perspective, and then to Camera 1. And I want you to hit playback over here. Okay? Now, if you're too close, zoom out using your mouse wheel so that you can get a better idea of what's going on, and try it again. But I want you to experiment with this now. You've just added a camera to a path, and look at any objects you've drawn from the camera's point of view. And it's just that simple. Now, if you lose your way in the View panel, remember you can always go up to the top of the View panel to View and click on Default Home, and you come back to a spot that's familiar, okay? Now, go up there to the Create Cameras section, and you'll see that the other two cameras that are available to you have different ways of working, different attributes, okay? And with some experimentation, you'll see how they work. Now, I can't possibly explain all of that to you in a tutorial like this, but you now have the basic skills you need to actually consciously plan how the objects that you've created will be viewed in your final project. All right? Now we get to do the funnest bit of all, which is rendering your animation. Now, if you don't have a fast processor in your computer, well, this might take a while, so you have to be patient. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top, the menu of menu sets, and we're going to set it on rendering this time, okay? Then we're going to click on Window at the top, Render Editors, and then Render Settings. And you get a Render Settings box that comes up, okay? Now in the Render Settings menu, change the image format to QuickTime Movie. Type 1 into the Start Frame box, and type 24 into the End Frame box. All right? In the renderable cameras section, select Camera 1 from the drop-down box and click Close. All right? Now, go up to the top of your screen again and click Render, Batch Render. Now, your machine will start to make all sorts of groaning noise probably, because it takes loads of processing power to render animation. So whenever you're doing your experiments, just try rendering small little bits. And remember, you can set the distance, the length of your animation in the preferences box down here, that little tiny one. So you now have the basic skills. You now know how to create small amounts of animation. You know how to render them. You know how to draw them. You know how to create objects. You know how to decorate them. You know how to make them move. And now you know how to render them as QuickTime movie clips. Now, of course, there's so much more to Maya. There's sections of Maya in this user interface that I've never seen before, that I stumble onto occasionally, that I didn't even know were there. It's a bottomless program. You could dive in and not come out for ages. All right? Now, the thing is, when your file is finally rendered, you have to go and look into the default file structure where all of your Maya projects are saved, and your finished MOV file, or QuickTime file in this case, will be in the Images folder, and you can just click on it and see your work. And honestly, it can be a real thrill to see the rendered version of your artwork.